So we just got done looking at the tobacco that was fresh from the farms going to the curing barn. This tobacco has now been here for 13 days. The tobacco is starting to lose its moisture. You can see the veins on the side are starting to release the moisture. Some brown spots have set in. This was wonderful, bright and green. Now it's got that yellow and brown hue to it. Eventually, when all the moisture is gone through the midrib and the side veins, this beautiful leaf will have a nice golden brown color, beautiful oily wrapper. All this tobacco, the way it's actually being cured, is going to be delicious, gorgeous wrapper. So now we're going to go look at tobacco that's 40 days old, and you'll see that this tobacco, after 40 days of curing, is absolutely gorgeous, perfectly used for wrapper. All right, we're in the wonderful world of the Calfrista now. This is the ultimate curing barn. As you can see, there are ventilation ducts that travel throughout the barn on the bottom and the top, and it allows you to digitally control the temperature and humidity. You can see in the other barns we saw the green leaves, the fresh leaves drying, and now under extreme humidity and temperature, the veins are starting to dry on the leaves, and then the midrib is still left. Once these veins completely dry on the leaf, they'll take the temperature up even higher and the humidity higher to dry the midrib. Eventually, this leaf will be perfectly golden and brown in color, resulting in a gorgeous wrapper. Usually with sun-grown tobacco, you only get about 20 to 25% wrapper. Shade-grown tobacco, which is grown under cheesecloth, blocks out the ultraviolet rays, delivers almost 50-55% wrapper. With this new system of Calfrista, where we can control the temperature and humidity to give a nice even leaf and get more wrapper on the sun-grown tobacco, we're getting almost 55 to 60% wrapper, and on the shade grade, almost 75 to 80% wrapper. And wrapper is something that there's a big shortage of in our industry. Gorgeous leaves, healthy, nice color, even. You don't get any rain spots on them. Beautiful. Look at this beautiful Corojo wrapper. Gorgeous curing, perfect curing here. Calfrista, look at the oils. Even pigmentation, nice oils, even color, beautiful texture. This is what happens when you take time with tobacco. Perfectly controlled climate, temperature and humidity, and time. And end result is this gorgeous golden brown wrapper that's going to go on one of these Edge cigars. I hope I get one. Once the tobacco leaves the curing barn, it arrives here, where the tobacco will be sorted and selected for quality and texture. In texture, you're looking for ligeros, visos, and secos, and identifying the thickness of the tobacco. In quality, you're determining which particular leaf will be wrapper, binder, or filler. It's a special process and takes a great eye. All this tobacco came from one bale ligero. In that same bale, you have extraordinary thickness from the 8th priming. This is a 7th priming, almost similar, but just not as thick. 6th priming, you can tell and you can see it's definitely thinner. And 5th priming, which is right around here, separated, which is even thinner. Again, all classified as ligero, but different degrees and variations of strength. If one roller were to get the leaves from this pile, and the other roller would get the leaves from any one of these piles, in the same blend, you'd have inconsistency in the character and strength of the cigar. So to ensure that we have consistency in the blend, when I make a blend, it'll be the 8th priming from a particular farm in Costa Rica, 7th priming from a particular farm in Esteli, 6th priming from a particular farm in Hammerstrom. This way it guarantees that every cigar, again, has the same leaf from the same tobacco plant, from the same farm. The other thing it helps us ensure, we can actually ferment the tobacco separately by primings. Because if I took the whole bale of ligero and fermented together, the 8th priming would be under-fermented and the 6th priming would be over-fermented. All this tobacco, it's a little dry. We're going to show you, we have a state-of-the-art system, how we add moisture
back to the tobacco to condition it for fermentation. All right, so here we have a well-cured bale that is coming from the Nestor Plasencia family. This tobacco has already been fermented. It's packed at about 12% humidity, very, very dry, so it doesn't break, but it's still not supple enough to work with. So what we're doing at this stage is we're adding moisture to the tobacco. We have a state-of-the-art system, 1,000 parts of water per second, very clean, refined water without any impurities. Many factories will actually take the tobacco, they'll take a hand and dunk it in a tank of water. You get too much water retention into the tobacco, and that ends up leaving black tips in the fermentation of the tobacco. This system evenly distributes the moisture on the tobacco, so you get a lot more wrapper, you don't get water stains, and the tobacco, when it's being fermented, is very clean and beautiful. Again, we're touching, feeling, working, another step towards the 300 different hands touching the tobacco to ensure you are getting a great quality cigar. We feel that we can take this tobacco and push it even further by adding about 6 months to a year of fermentation. Okay, now we're in the critical key component for making a premium Rocky Patel cigar, the fermentation department. What you're doing when you're fermenting tobacco is you're getting rid of all the nutrients, all the fertilizer that the tobacco plant absorbs. The nitrogen, the boron, potassium, magnesium. So all that wonderful fertilization to make that plant strong and healthy. Now we're going to clean the plant so you get the clean tobacco flavor. So here you have a 2,500 pound pilon. So you take all this pressure, you add moisture to the tobacco, and that breaks down the biological decomposition of the tobacco. It can take 6 months for Seco, take 18 months for Ligero, 12 months for Viso. Most of this tobacco has already been fermented. But here, we really like to push the tobacco. You'll notice with all my cigars, the key elements are rich, complex flavor, but the cigars are elegant and well balanced. You can smoke the cigars all the way to the end. They never get harsh, they never get bitter. Sometimes you can put the cigars down 5-10 minutes, pick them back up, and they stay lit. And that's because of the fermentation process and the amount we push the tobacco. Every 10 days, the pile will be rotated, top to bottom, bottom to top, inside out, outside in. The reason being, the center of the pile, especially in the middle of the pile, gets very, very warm. In fact, when we pull out a hand of tobacco from the pilon, it will be really warm, and you'll smell it like a fresh loaf of bread, like a cookie. I mean, you get that caramel, you get that chocolate, you get that nuttiness. The tobacco will finally be ready when the temperature stops rising. But you really have to touch the tobacco, talk to the tobacco, smoke the tobacco, feel the tobacco. That's when you know the fermentation process is perfect. And at any one time, a wrapper leaf might not be ready from Sumatra. We may have a Ligero or an 8 priming from Hamastran or Esteli that needs more time. Hence, we have to wait. I've stopped production on Decade before for 3 months, Old World Reserve for 2 or 3 months. Right now, the Corojo needs more fermentation. We will not rush the cigars until the tobacco is perfectly cured, perfectly fermented, because once you have great tobacco coming out of here, and you have great craftsmanship in the factory, you're going to get a good quality cigar. And that's what we do.